It's sleepy otherwise. No.
Okay.
But if I'll put my thing on.
Mhm.
I forgot. I can fire. Did you turn it on or should I turned it off? Oh. So we're gonna go back to the same system. I don't remember the one happened in like. That's like. Yeah, thing is. Fingers.
This school year is windy.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So
I'm pulling it up.
call the meeting order and then have him and then do the rest of it.
Yes.
Well.
Sir. Thank you very much.
All right, call the meeting to order it. I think I want to. All are present, you can be present. One guest. So let's go to him. You're up first. And you can. Hopefully.
We could.
Well, I don't know, we don't do the pledge and stuff and then. That's not how it was. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. We'll go ahead and do all folk stuff. So I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of Mexico, as the symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Would anybody else like to lead us in prayer tonight? Okay, Lord, please. Well, I know, I just.
Please bow your head. Dear Heavenly Father, please bless the words spoken in this meeting and the decisions made so that we can produce great young students that go on and do great things in the future. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
All right.
Thank you.
Your turn.
Your turn.
Please and thank you. And thanks for coming.
Members of the board, of course, Nick from People of Finance, and we serve as the school district's municipal bond advisor. Tonight we're going to be talking about the first issuance of the new general obligation bond, the 2026 series. After talking with the superintendent and figuring out where the combined school project is as far as KSCOC funding and support, we decided to issue $1 million in the first round and then break it up to issue the remaining $1.5 million next year after planning and design is done. There are a couple of reasons for that. First is that it helps reduce the overall interest. Not going to actually spend the full $2.5 million, in the next 6 months. You can reduce on that interest cost by waiting a little bit to actually issue the bond because interest does start accruing immediately. You have 4 years after the election to actually issue the bonds. And then once you issue them, you want to spend the majority of it within 3 years. So it also delays your clock a little bit to give you some more time to actually spend that money. Thirdly, it'll also help us manage the mill levy or the tax rate a little bit more if we can figure out what the valuation is going to be next year. That will just help us better set that repayment schedule to make sure there are no tax increases, like we told voters when we were going out that election. So tonight, there's no real action following the presentation. Superintendent and I would like your approval to move forward with starting the bond sale, and then we'd be back in June for the actual action items and approval that's needed from the board. Real quick though, on page 3, that shows the evaluations here in the community. That's what you're using as the pledge to repay those general obligation bonds. Based off the final values for 2025, there was very modest growth, basically unchanged from the year before. That means we want to be a little bit more conservative if growth is starting to slow down on that repayment schedule again, so we don't have any sudden tax increases. Even if we stay the same rate or no growth, that means we will be able to pay back that bond without a tax increase. And so that is something we look at, is just the average and kind of where we're trending. I know there has been a lot of growth in the last few years. Could continue even if there's no new homes added and people just do improvements around town. That will increase the assessed valuation, which would drive down the tax rate that we're talking about today. But you did all make a commitment to the PSCOC or the state as part of your request for a funding waiver that you would maintain a tax rate over $7. So the next page does look at all of the taxes that residents are paying here. That is factored into the assessed valuation, but also how they calculate waivers from the state. We know you guys had the SB9 election and then tried to go back out again for the special election and that did not pass. That would result in about a $2 decrease in taxes, which would then make you ineligible for the awards, assuming superintendent gets the approval tomorrow. Based off of the school ranking and what you guys were asking on paper, and the request should be approved. And so we do want to make sure that we try and maintain that $7 tax rate. So you don't lose that funding waiver if it is approved.
Say that again, that pull us part of, put us in a situation to not be able to do the things that we need to do. Basically, use that one more time.
So right now, the PSOC is offering waivers based on 2 different categories. For a school district with less than 1,500 students, you need a total tax rate over $7 as a way to qualify. They used to have a percentage of bond indebtedness as well, meaning you have to basically sell all your bonds. That metric is gone. It's just now the tax rate and then where the school ranks. I think combined school is 90 or 92. The top 100 qualified this year. And so with the school being the top 100 and the total residential tax rate over $7, that makes you eligible for that funding waiver, which means you can put forward the $2.5 million general obligation bond and ask the state to pay for the remaining amount. We're assuming they'll approve that request tomorrow at the council meeting, just based off of that criteria being top 100 and having tax rates where it needs to be. But historically, they funded them in 2 parts, which is the planning and design, which means you might have to go back to the council in 6 or 12 months after some of that planning and design work has started. And they could check their tax rate at that point or at some point during the project. And if they see it decline, that could be viewed, as bad faith on your part going to them at a certain tax rate and going, maybe not knowing, but then having it decline right away. So
who sets?
So what causes that?
Yeah.
What could cause that?
the decline more or less could happen because that SB9 election did not pass.
That was my question.
So on that
Yeah.
page right there where it breaks out all the taxes, we do have one category for the SB9 kind of right in the middle. If that goes away, you can just track, $1.97 from that total, and that's going to put you closer to a $5 total tax rate, which might be good in some of the residents' mind because the property bill goes down. It's not going to be a substantial amount for most residents. It's probably going to be $40 or $50, that $2 difference. But that could potentially cause the school district to lose out on the 40 or 50 plus million dollars that you're asking for on their paper. So we want to try and find a solution to that, which is also part of why we're breaking out the bond sale into 2 phases. If I can skip ahead to page 7, that shows the plan superintendent and the IRC will came up with to help manage that tax rate and then have a plan to go back for hopefully SB9 approval at the 2027 election. We do think that is an important component to the overall budget for the school district to try and maintain that SB9 funding. The state is not going to give you the money you need to maintain the facilities. Even with a new facility, there's still going to be maintenance and repair costs to make sure you maintain it to that new standard. So we do recommend to go back to voters in 2027 to ask them for approval on that SB9, which at that point in time would not result in a tax increase, similar story to what we've told them over the last year, that it would be continuing mill levy. Would be a new mill levy at that point because we have had the gap, but the plan would be to maintain the tax rate if it was approved, and there would be no increase in the overall taxes. We can do that. I guess we can fill the hole and make sure that we maintain the $7 tax rate over the next 2 years by front loading the debt structure. Maybe a little more detail than we all wanted to go into, I apologize, but if you look kind of in the middle column, we're expecting to pay back about half of the $1 million in the first 2-year period. If you pay back more of the bonds up front, that will reduce the overall interest cost you're paying, but it will also cause an increase in that overall tax rate during that 2-year period. So we're more or less going to borrow the $2 of capacity that you all had from the SB9 and move it over towards your debt service. That will reduce the debt service, making it so you can pay it back a lot quicker and have a lower overall financing cost on that marginal interest on. And then over here on the green box on the right hand side, excuse me, that shows kind of what the overall tax rate is going to be. And you can see that second to last column shows the drop over the next 2 years without the SB9 approval. And then we do assume it would come back. If that doesn't happen, we will have a discussion at that point in time, but you will be towards the end of the commitment. Historically, it's been a 4-year period from approval to maintaining that $7 tax rate for PSC and C papers. And so we do want to try, so we have a green box for 4 years total, trying to make sure we can maintain that $7 for 4 years. And at that point, if it goes back down because projects are done, that's up to you all. So I'll pause there because that was a lot.
Yeah.
First part is, mostly just our plan to make sure we can manage the tax rate, make sure it's all eligible for the funding papers. And then nothing you necessarily need to do for that part. Superintendent and I will be at the meeting tomorrow, present, and then we'll find out, I believe, after her presentation if you're approved or not. And then that funding or that construction can't start about a month later. So we're aiming to again have you guys take action at the June board meeting. We would recommend submitting an application to the New Mexico Finance Authority, which is who you all sold your last general obligation bond to. Just given the size being $1 million, the Finance Authority has a lower cost to issue because you don't need an investment rating and you don't have some of the added legal costs associated with a public bond sale. And then with a bank private placement, $1 million tends to be too small for a lot of banks. The superintendent did mention you guys have some excess cash right now in your farm, and I'm looking to put that money to work so you can hopefully invest it. That could be one option, is looking to have a bank invest the bond money, but also lend you for the general obligation bonds. They might be willing to have a smaller bond loan if they know they're getting some depository assets as well.
Question?
Yes.
And Barbara has mentioned a really good place possibly to invest. What is your recommendation on the best place to invest the wind farm money? Not put it on the spot, but.
It depends on the time horizon, I think, of how soon you need it. But yeah, plan is not to use it for 2 to 3 years until the combined school is done and put that money to help finish the campus and think the state doesn't pay for it. Then I think you have some more flexible options. Steeple has, not our group, but a different group that can invest bond proceeds in excess cash and do the compliance and all the regulations. And then you tell them what the time horizon is and they can get more dynamic with the investments to maximize your returns. If you're unsure of when you need money or if you want that flexibility, then there's different options through the state investment pools or through a local bank, even with the CD, the certificates of deposit, those pay 3 or 4% right now. That would be a pretty good return.
What's a state investment pool?
It'll be similar to that 3 or 4%. You will be limited as well based off of if it's wind farm money, you have less limitations. You can go ahead and invest that. Whatever return you get is what you get. You can invest in equities and take more risk. But bonds or fixed income, state investment pools, I think safer option, those are probably in the 3 to 5% range. Anything better than zero in the checking account, though.
Yeah.
So that could be one option, is to think about asking a bank, to invest that money for you while and also look at an obligation on money. That one is a little bit more complicated, probably a little more costly as far as the bond loan goes. They'll probably offer a higher interest rate. So after talking to the superintendent, came to that determination that the finance authority was probably a better option for the bond, and then we can find a different solution for the wind farm money. The finance authority also has historically given what they call disadvantaged funding to rural school districts. You all qualified on the 2024 bonds, where you get a small portion at 0% interest. So that's going to drive down your overall interest rate and again make them the lowest cost option for you.
So based on what you see, you've seen the projections of the new school. You're familiar with all of this. We have close to 800,000 right now, I think, in our wind farm fund. That's big. She might have gotten something saying what we're getting into. So all of those things, if this was your deal, what would you do
For the cash, or
for the wind farm?
I would probably save it until you know what the state's going to pay for on the combined school
At
bond.
the end,
They're not going
put
to,
it in a longer term, locked in type suit.
most likely, yes, assuming we can get that guarantee tomorrow from the state that they're going to pay for the planning, design, construction. We know they're not going to pay for athletic fields. They're not going to pay for like some of the fine arts if you want.
Or maybe do like 50% into kind of the medium type deal, and the other 50% maybe, well, I don't know if there's thresholds on dollar amounts.
And where you invest it, they might have threshold, but you can just ladder it and have it, mature or come due every 3 to 6 months. That way, if you have a need, money that will be available in 1 or 2 months, and if not, you can just invest it again. That would give you a lot of flexibility as well, but might require a little bit more work if it's something you all manage yourself.
Okay, and I don't know if anybody else has questions on this particular subject. But I'm gonna go back to this. Okay. I want to make sure I understand. So looking at this shape and what you cared about, we have to watch the that $7. We don't want to go below that based on different criteria and the direction we want to go in building a new school and get our 50 million. And then I see over here, of course, the SB9 close to 2.5 granting. So we know we're not going to have that for a period of time. So we're still we're okay. We just would have been above and beyond 7 by that almost 2.5. That gave us like an extra cushion.
If the SB9 had been approved, we would not front load the debt as much in the green column where you see most of the average payments are $70,000 the first 2 years.
Okay.
It's significantly
Yeah,
higher.
okay.
That's where we're borrowing that.
I see it now. So the 349 and the 224 is what takes that takes it up to the 7.3 on the 7.4 and the 7. Otherwise, it would be closer to 5.
Oh, yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, okay. And that's just on the debt service. That's not interest. It's just on the principal and the debt service.
That's correct. So this column, just outside the green box, shows your debt service mill levy. This year is the blue number, that's $4.81. It goes up to $6.87 just for the debt service portion of it. And then because there will be no SB9, there's no education technology note, and no HB 33. The only other one is your operational mill levy that would be added on to it. So the majority of your overall bonding, overall tax levies will go towards your bond debt service over the next 2 years.
I'm with you. Okay, thank you.
And then this side assumes zero growth, like I had talked about at the beginning. That's why we're slightly, above that $7 mark. If we do see growth, it does not take much, 1 or 2%, drives you quickly back down to that $7 mark. So we want to factor in a little cushion there, and then next year, these numbers are preliminary for that little column. We'll be able to evaluate where your tax rate is and what the assessed valuation is, and then figure out what the best repayment structure is for that blue column when we come back to sell bonds next year.
Because I don't know when they got assessed, but there's one family here that they bought some of the old houses and redone them, around, and so, and then our mayor across the railroad tracks over there, they've added one more house out there. I don't know how many more. I know I had conversation with the gentleman that sets mobile homes, and he was supposed to be here all this week, but somebody that was looking at setting several. So because with those, I don't know what it's gonna take, 70, 80 employees to take care of those. I don't know if anybody's ever said, to take care of those wind generators. Right now, there's no place to live, and I think some of the people are starting to want to cash in on that a little bit. So
I think these final values are.
that would help, wouldn't it? If they did.
These values, I think, are from February of this year. So it probably doesn't include much of that growth in there. We'll set tax rates for the district in August with the state this year. It probably won't be factored into that next year, but we go sell that blue, and that'll be good information for us, because my zero growth is probably not accurate. It might be good to assume at least 1 or 2%.
Okay, well, I have a dumb question. So like with all of the RV parks and the temporary dwelling areas, how, because basically we evaluate who's involved that was here, and there's still about half of it here. Yes. How did that factor into, did it at all do it?
Most likely it did not.
Okay, just making
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, we got taxed on ours.
See, that's why I was thinking there were property
It
taxes.
was a property tax.
They,
And remember what it was? It was a couple $100. One block, so it's amazing.
they have them legally classified as, extra dwelling space or rented them out.
See, we
Okay.
didn't, when they came and looked at my mom's stuff, and I'm charged with some qualification.
And that could be factored in over the last 2 or 3 years, where we have seen
Yeah.
pretty big growth back to back. Because some of the mobile home parks or residences were put in, that's the first page there, where it's looked at the assessed valuation growth. We did go from, 60 million up to 70 million, 2 to 3 years. So that could be capturing some of the growth when the wind farm projects first start.
Okay, so that concerns me because that almost looks like that's what that is.
But it's not, they don't tax us on the people that are here, or even for the trailers that are in them, it's for the spaces that are there. It's for the infrastructure. So if there's, like, Huey's have like 70 or 75 spaces out there, doesn't matter if one of them are in it or if it's full, occupied or not, they still get taxed on it.
Even if there's nothing.
Yeah, even if there's nothing there, yeah.
How long does that stay?
I don't know. I don't know. All I know is they taxed us up this year.
So how long does that?
I don't know how long that lasts, but that would be a good thing for you all. That provides some stability in the tax rate. Most of the growth was in the non-residential, which is the actual businesses, the wind farms and things like that. The residential looks like it went up a little over $1 million, which, like you're saying, it's
So
$1 or $3
I have another question. So was this all Lincoln County or is it our school district?
This is your school district, which
So
does
it's the 404 ounce and Lincoln. So there's familiar with them going on out here on the Florence County.
which will drive some of that assessed valuation growth up further, which might be another benefit to breaking up the bond sale in 2 phases.
Yeah.
That way, if we do see a 5 or 10% growth over the next year, we'll be able to factor that in. That valuation does include the school district boundaries within all 3 counties.
Yeah, I thought it did, but because it's district, not county, it's district, wherever. Oh, let there be light. Yeah.
Too long, that's
That's
sorry.
everything. Last question. So, I appreciate all that. Yes. So do we have to be watching this on a regular basis, or will you all be watching based on we're kind of right there? And I don't want to lose that 50 million. Who's gonna be watching this closely to make sure that we don't fall, that we've got the debt service where it's supposed to be and do it timely so that we don't fall below?
Hopefully all of us,
Yeah.
letting us know about, the wind farms, those projects taking place are helpful in the projection. So when I go back home tomorrow or tonight, I'll factor in, slight growth going forward for this bond sale and setting the tax rates. It will necessarily make a difference because we are at that 7.3 mark. So if we do see a 5% growth, it'll probably drop us to 7.1, which would still keep you eligible for the waivers. And then our firm sets the tax rates with the public education department every August usually. There's some flexibility in how we set it. If for some reason we did see a rapid growth, historically we've been able to at least maintain a tax rate and then put that towards total outstanding debt savings that you have.
So would you, and I guess this is the question for you at the board. I don't know, it makes me nervous taking it down to 7.1. So what is is there a threshold? Should it be 7.3? We don't want to fall below 7.3. To make sure it didn't get.
There's no hard and fast number. There have been districts tonight who were 6.95 or just below. Partly because they could have set the plans or the assessment valuation, right? I think 7.3 is a reasonable cushion there, especially because we have that fall sale next year. If we do rapid growth, that first year in the blue column is a pretty small payment compared to the other years. We can adjust that as needed to help make sure we maintain the mill levy. Then I think the most important thing is for the superintendent to be able to say, yes, we are maintaining that $7 tax rate tomorrow, which is when you guys apply and when it was approved. You have a $7 tax rate, that SB9 drops off. Probably July of this summer, maybe.
I mean, she's gonna tell them tomorrow that we can, we're doing all we can, the rest is up to, we're doing all we can to maintain it. This is up to the community, whether they.
Yes,
This article from the journal says that the project by Marks County starts in 2027 and commercial operations in 20.
that growth, that'll be good, but that growth will be a little bit slower in the assessed valuation.
Right.
Again, that commitment's historically been 4 years, I would say. The tax year 2025, which is what we're in right now, does not necessarily count. It was at $7 when you apply, but they might have for 4 years. Moving forward, it depends probably how long that construction is going to take. Your data comment scares me. It's not that long. Figure that out later.
No, we don't gonna keep hearing them.
But if it's 4 years, then even if they're in rapid growth, we should be able to maintain that commitment to the state and not lose any.
The school they built the road, or the school took for 7 years. They're old, so they're for 30 years.
Maybe that group.
But they haven't, it was just the one building.
Well, they didn't.
They've done a lot of other stuff.
But now they're being named on it.
Yeah.
I'll end with the timeline in the back. Again, no action today.
Yeah.
Superintendent and I will plan to submit the NMFA application. It's due the first Friday of June. We would then come back to you guys at the June 4th meeting for approval. It would be for authorizing the bond sale and then what's called delegated authority for the superintendent to act within certain boundaries, not to exceed the $1 million, not to exceed certain interest rates. And that's also, we can do pricing of the documents during business hours when the markets are open and things like that. And then you have money early September.
Okay. And FYI, our board meeting for usually to the third weekend.
Okay.
Yes, because third Wednesday. For Vicky's piece of works. So, yeah.
Thank you. We'll update that and
Okay.
have documents prepared for the next week if there's no other questions.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. You do safe.
Be careful going on.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
You sounded so excited.
Bet those are a bunch of stuff and people.
Very, very, you don't. So I don't know.
All right, approval of the agenda, we don't need the minutes from April regular meeting, special meeting.
Second.
Motion made second to approve. the Minutes from 2 April meetings, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Can I put this in this trash or do I need to go to the?
Payroll and bills.
I have questions. Of course.
No questions? Is that what I heard?
Yeah.
Is Casey going on 100?
What is,
Probably.
what is, on page 10 of the account purchase order report? Elite Customer Centered Solutions in New Mexico, what's that for?
So they're the ones who do our phone service and our keys.
Oh, that's right, you're wanting to go back to Plateau. Okay.
And Elite is, it's a vendor. It's not that program through the state, right? Correct.
Okay.
I had that same question.
And what is fire extinguishers for Brazos Fire LLC?
So they are cleaning the food.
And any word on Brent Woodard, is he come? He fixed.
I don't have I needed to get that done and I haven't. I will find out tomorrow and give Brandon an update to share with you all. I'll call him again.
Okay.
So no, I don't have an update from him. He was supposed to get started, he said at the beginning of May, and I have not had a chance to follow up with him. I don't know if Rand has shared, I won't go into any gory details, but I've had some setbacks with a minor surgery that I had. And I've just been, I've been going back and forth to El Paso almost every day the last 2 weeks. So I will follow up with him in the morning. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think that was it, because it had to do with cash and the outstanding stuff that's still sitting out there. Tyler Technologies hasn't helped you figure that out, or you just haven't.
They can't do it. They recommended the auditor help us get that done. They absolutely said they can't do that. Yeah, that's not their area.
All right, I was just curious because I saw them on there still. Yeah. All right, that's it. That's all I have.
Wait.
I have 3 questions. Can you hear me okay, Vicki?
I'm sorry?
Can you hear me?
I can hear, yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. This is minute, but just a question. So in the, I'm trying to think which report it was. It's the universal free lunch and it was close to 13,000 and it didn't appear that we had used any of it. Can you, and maybe I'm looking.
No, you're right. You're right. I'm actually going to be moving. If you'll notice, there's 2 food service accounts. There's one that is 21000, and that is the USDA federal food service program. And that one is actually in the negative. If all the expenditures come through, it will be in the negative of $12,000. So the other food service account that you're referring to is the state portion of what they give us. So we will be moving whatever is over. We should be able to finish that out this month because we'll have payrolls and everything. I don't know if we'll hit those encumbrances or not. So I was waiting to run another payroll and then I'll move the funds if there's any shortage into that state fund. If we don't have an overage in the federal USDA account, that state fund just rolls over and will be available for us to use next year.
Okay. My next question is on in going through all the reports, and I know we're at the end of the school year, so I get that, but it looked to me like when you total up all the instruction, like for the admin, we're very tight. Am I looking at that right?
When you look at The direct, like are you talking by function?
So like for
the
example,
1,000?
29134.
Okay, let's look at that one.
And I mean, I just, it was in general, just going through all the
Sure.
reports. And maybe that's where we normally are historically, and I'm just more sensitive with everything going on. So it's just a question. If we think based on, we have one more month of actuals, do we feel we did the budget with enough cushion? I mean, I guess it's done, so.
Right. So for next year, yes, we did it based on our actuals for this year and projected into next year. So, but I can tell you, especially in wind, there were some items that we didn't have budget in there for, and that's why there's negative balances when you look on page 3 or page 4, I apologize, from the beginning. And it shows 29134 summarize that wind. You can see 2,200 support services is in the negative 34,000. Well, we just approved last month or the month before for PD for folks to go to Roscoe to get these different trainings. And so that was not originally planned for in the original budget. And that was close to $40,000, I believe. And then 2,300 is the office of the superintendent. And that's where we had to, with the 2 salaries, we hadn't planned for it. So yes, you're right. Some of those items weren't budgeted correctly, but we didn't foresee it either until it happened, until things came up. So hopefully we've done a better job of that this next year.
I'm going to ask this. In the event that we have 2 supers on payroll, did we build that into the budget?
For next year? No.
Oh,
We did not. We did not.
Well, when we filed that. Well,
I mean, we can't go into a lot of detail.
no, I
but
won't
that
say
was
anything
my
until we go into the executive session.
So what I do
and-
want to tell you though, just so you know, when we have like a cash balance, like it's not really budgeted anywhere, it's just additional budget that we have available. You're going to see that in, it starts at the top of page 5, like for 29134, it's in that function 4,000. So that basically was unbudgeted money. We had it, we claimed it with PED, basically saying we could potentially spend this. And we put it in that 4,000 line just as a holding place. And then, and that's done a lot, to just have a line item where you kind of put your chunk of unbudgeted so that you can move it when you have unexpected expenses. So we do have that again next year, that we'll have in the budget as well, is that line item that is kind of unbudgeted, but can be moved if circumstances arise that need to be addressed.
Okay, that helps me. And then I have a question. If you can just answer, I noticed the bank balance was that 5,000, almost 6,000. And I was gonna go look at prior reports and I didn't have time to go look at them. So it's still the same? That's what it's been.
What bank balance are you referring to?
The out of balance, books with the bank.
Oh, the
And I
out
know
of
your work.
balance. Yes.
That's the 5,933.
That's what Woodard is going to help us with. Yes.
Okay. That's pretty sure.
Yes.
I have 3 more questions on the capital report. Capital outlay. Capital report.
Yes, let me get to that.
And it's account number 31200.4000.54500.
Yes.
And it is that negative, can you explain that negative 91,000?
I'm trying to, let me see. I'm not seeing what you're seeing, but let me get there. Oh, this one. Okay. In the fourth, okay. So that is, we did not under that particular object code. So the first set of numbers, the 31200 is the fund. The next set is the function, which 4,000 is construction, capital construction services. The next set of numbers is where it digs deeper and tells you what specifically is it for, and that's for construction services. I believe it would tie to a purchase order. I need to look, but we did not put budget in that line. We didn't put very much. It was only 1,336, but we've had a year-to-date expense of 92,000. I'm thinking some of that might be the contract for Mr. Au for the demolition project for construction support. I'll need to dig in to see exactly what that detail is, but I can look at that and let you know. I can let you know before the meeting's over.
Okay, or just if you want to shoot us an email, whatever works best.
Okay.
All right, and then my last question, I'm good on the wind balance, if you guys got that report down. So I just have, and I know we've talked about this in other board meetings, but in going through the purchase order history, and I understand there are some POs that are open and they're like blanket throughout a period of time.
Right.
But then there was one, and this is on the account purchase order history. This is just an example of my question. I had a few of them, but this will answer all of my questions, I think. So the number is 13,000.2700.54314.
That's transportation.
The budget shows to be 2,000. And then there were, I remember the second column over, there's 3 columns. There's the budget up at the top, and then there's the middle column, and one of them was 5,000 to Robert Stewart. He does bus inspections and fixes, he does after bus inspections.
Drive the tires for the.
He works well, and he also changes oil, but we did.
And that was 725. So that was July of last.
We keep an open PO because he gets used so frequently.
Okay.
So yes.
Okay.
He's definitely one of those. If it was opened in July, that tends to be those blanket purchase orders that are repetitive throughout the year. Yes.
And then my last question. So on that same report for white sands, and that's used for our drug testing, right?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, I'm sure we've looked at it a million times, but just going through the history on that PO report, those are significant.
Oh no, you're talking about White Sands construction, I believe.
Oh, okay.
They're doing the housing project. But yes, there is a White Sands that does the drug testing too.
Sorry, this is okay. Sorry, Vicki. Okay.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
That's how that's how we do it. I mean, yeah. That's good.
Sorry.
That's
Okay.
good. No,
Thank you,
you're
Vicki.
good. Of course.
What is the drug?
You're
White
welcome.
sand.
Drug and alcohol.
Yeah, it's white sands.
And that's
So I just needed to ask Mr. Patterson if you wouldn't mind going into your school email account. There is a document for the budget that's routed through everyone that just still needs your signature when you get a chance.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Thank you. And that was all I had. No one else has any other questions on the financial reports?
think we're good.
No, I hope
Okay.
you continue to progress in a good direction with your health.
Me too. I had a setback again today. I just told Randa about it, but it's
Okay.
been ongoing.
Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. Just keep it all in prayer. That's what just keep praying
Yeah.
over it. So are you going to approve those or do you want me to go over the bar?
Well, let's approve the payroll and bills and then we'll get to it. I need a motion for payroll and
Perfect.
bills.
Second. Did you get that?
Like 14 of them. Whoever you put down. Motion and seconded to approve payroll and bills. All those in favor? All those opposed? All right, budget adjustment request.
I moved to.
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
did you?
I'm ready.
Good. Go ahead.
Yes, I shared that. I also sent that early on. It is to take care of the negative functions in the wind farm for those two function items we just went over, 2,200 and 2,300 for PD and the additional salary. So it's bar 038-000-2526-0017T for transfer. And we're just moving funds from that 4,000 where we were holding some funding and moved them into cover those two negative lines.
To approve.
Second. Motion to be accepted to approve the bars. All those in favor?
Thank
All those opposed? Okay, thank you, Vicki.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Take care.
All right, acting superintendent.
Looks like you've been busy.
Yeah, I feel like I was more. I told Miss Dunlap, I was like, not really sure what all I'll put on here. Whenever you're to like sit down and go through there, you realize things that kind of hurt. If you guys have any questions regarding this, I sent it pretty late this afternoon. Tri-West Fence did get back to me this afternoon, said that they're looking at coming out June 15th, no later than June 2nd.
And that was the convention.
Yeah, okay, until they're hoping to get it done, of course. We'll start. Yeah, perfect.
Oh, good.
That was one of my questions. It shouldn't.
Yeah.
Do that. Also, so within, good news, I talked to Miss Lauren, she's with the Peace Coalition. She's also on the Lincoln County Community Health Council. I had applied for a $5,000 grant to support our early childhood center. And she did say that we did get that. And then also just letting you all aware that I did apply for a $30,000 grant for community ties within the Union Railroad. And we won't know on that until September 1st.
Well, I wanted to share with you and the rest of the board, the Community Foundation of Lincoln County. We have been blessed with an infusion of cash to like $4 million. And so our intent all along was to invest funds in the legacy fund and then take 1.5% of that funding and give out grants. And we have given out grants. We've given the village has applied for it and received it, but they've been small. But I think this fall they're due November 1st. If you just go to CFOLC.org and find the application, I would apply for this early childhood because we have significant funding now. We have a benefactor that wanted to see good things happen in Lincoln County. And it's Lincoln County wide. It's not just Rios. That's good. Yeah. And so, can you share the, no, there's one. No, they want to repeat. That's no. Yeah, it was, like I said, it's to the tune of about $4. Anyway, but I would apply for that one too, because you never know. And you just, all you have to be is a nonprofit, and we are a nonprofit. And I kind of explained to them what we're trying to do here, and thank you. I can't say 100% not on the grant committee, but
I have a voice and
If you don't apply, you don't.
yeah, you won't know.
Well, that's, I was really surprised that I got last minute, with the council.
Yeah. So hopefully with that union
So-
specific one, yeah. get it.
With that 30 and this 5, that puts you pretty far along.
For us to get started.
Started.
yes, yeah, you know, to be able to support those benefits.
That's the major,
Is it been?
that's your biggest, that's
obstacle?
the biggest obstacle is just paying somebody, well, finding somebody or finding people and then.
All right.
Peace Coalition also came and provided stuff for our pre-K and, you know, they said that they would be more about with anything extra, they have like pack and plays, mats, all kinds of different supplies, I'll send you a whole list of things that are
Great.
I would be very happy to help out. She did say that Peace Coalition, they aren't sure if it will continue past July 1. There's an RFP to see to Peace Coalition.
Is that a non-profit?
I don't really know how it works. I believe so, but it's also through Region 9. And so like Region 9 is going out for the RFP to be able to fund them, so I'm guessing
Okay, yeah,
that's
it's
how
probably-
that works. Right. And then I did talk with David Chavez this afternoon too. And so for our last strategic planning session, our leadership team will talk for about 30 minutes and kind of go over the goals that they had created for you guys. And then he would like to chime in and get about 3 guardrails going, and then yeah, he said it shouldn't take about.
And we'll all be
Back on
together
the
for that
20th,
session.
yes.
That's, do we have to have our book read by then?
I hope not.
Yeah, I mean, I've started it, but it's
I think it's 5 to see.
just asking. I have read some.
No, I don't spend much time in the bathroom as I used to, so. Yeah, I know. Yeah. All right, anything else? I mean, you get that, please.
The superintendent here, she did nominate me for the SOAR cohort, which is a superintendent leadership program, and you have to be nominated to be able to go through their leadership program, and so I did get accepted into their program.
Good job, Randa. Excellent. When is that?
She said it'll start in the fall.
Okay.
Yes, okay. So
Has she been through it?
Yes, yeah, she said it will.
Well, good.
You had some extra time with me
Yeah, what do you
To
mean?
do.
to
do
do
that.
that.
Well, see.
No, no, what I'm saying.
Assuming.
Well, congratulations. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Questions?
What was the part A and B?
So that was kind of that was the biggest part is just getting all of the numbers involved, all of what everything's gonna cost, who all's involved, timelines, if pretty much everything like that, and then Callan Curry with the White Sands had to sign it that we did, and then it still had to go through another. So hopefully
That's just.
it'll go a little quicker, you know, however, it does take about a month for the state to get a PO to.
So maybe by sometime this year, or maybe sometime next year, we might have some. Places maybe. That's good. All right. Very good. All right, Director.
Sorry that they were delayed.
It's not like you guys haven't been doing stuff all week.
There are days when you don't
After-
get
after
anything
school.
accomplished, and then there's other days that you feel like you get a lot of. The gist of our conversation, but we are currently in our spring project-based learning that we're doing. That was funded by that STEM in New Mexico grant. So there will be probably another bar next month because I turned in all the invoices to NMSU. So we had received that grant, but
We had 4 amazing people from our community come in and talk to our kids about watershed management, brush and juniper management, predator management, and then supplementation and mineral intake management. I had a couple calls from parents that were very pleased that we went that in depth with even our little ones.
Jeff come in.
Lauren came in, Melvin Johnson, Leanne Hutchison, and Richard came in and talked to the kids. The elementary kids did kind of stations and asked questions, and then the high school kind of got a more of a kind of panel discussion. They started asking questions before all of our panelists got to introduce themselves, and so some of them got to answer more questions than the others. But the elementary's goal is to take Lego Spike robotic kits, and they're in teams, and they have to create a robot to solve one of the problems that they heard from our leaders. Middle school has to use machine learning and AI. They may include a robot or a drone, but they also have to talk about the machine learning to solve that issue. So whether it's analyzing pictures from drone or other data that's put in from robotics, and then our high school kids have to use drone technology and focus more on the natural resource side of it. So they're looking more at kind of the watershed brush control piece of it. And so they have to create some kind of slideshow, and they will present Monday. Miss Kelly Springfield from CE is going to come in, and then we had a graduate student from New Mexico Tech that came to help our teachers with that, and she's going to come over as well. And then present. Yeah, so they will present those things. We finished all of our high stakes testing. We did have to file 3 irregularities. We had one student that was withdrawn right after science testing started. And then we had 2 other circumstances that caused us to file some irregularities. We're not sure what that's going to do to our testing percentage. We may get a little ding based on that percentage because we are so small. We'll see what happens when that comes around.
Person skews everything.
Yeah. And then we're looking at kind of some new professional development to go along with our math curriculum that we adopted. They're going to do some science professional development next week on one of our half days in order to next year fully implement our new science curriculum we adopted last year. They did some bits and pieces, but they didn't feel very confident in it this year. So they asked for some professional development. So they're going to get that for science and then also for math. We're hoping to kind of piggyback with Carrizozo to cut some of that cost a little bit because Carrizozo also adopted Savvis. And so if we can combine, then we will do that professional development. We did not get our CLSD grant that we applied for, but we're looking at some other grants. The Peace Coalition also shared one for middle school that might help fund some of that salary or some of that shift as we try to implement our middle school model. CEN is kind of looking at it with me to ensure that we answer those questions properly as we move into that 18 space and things like that.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
How much was the CLSD grant?
That would have, there was not really a dollar amount, but it would have funded a full-time reading interventionist and support. The number one reason we did not qualify is our literacy rates are too high.
We're too good. Huh?
So although it's a need and we have
Yeah.
a need for it, our rates are too high compared to the rest of the state.
Not enough kids, not enough pool.
Yeah.
What a
Yeah.
problem to have. It's crazy.
So
So you get dinged for being good.
That's a testament to our teachers.
yes, it is. Yes. It really is. And I would much rather lose out because of that than something else.
Yeah.
But that also just means that we have to get creative in our scheduling and some other kind of funding things in order to work in some intervention time. We do have a highly qualified staff that can provide those services, and they're getting some trainings and doing some different things that they can provide those services without us hiring an interventionist. It just means that it's more things on their plates instead of being distributed out to somebody else.
Yeah.
So, and then we did secure $25,000 to fund our first annual camp. So we will have middle school students attend. I still got to kind of put my feelers out to see who's going to commit student wise, but I have secured. We've got a student teacher coming in the fall. He's willing to come in early in order to participate and be a part of that. 2 of our teachers on staff are willing to participate and commit to this. What it would entail is a 1-day kickoff, either at the ranch or here, with some drones and technology and all the things that we've currently been talking about. And then they will spend 3 days at New Mexico Tech, getting to blow things up at Emmertech, going through mines, visiting the observatory, going to the VLA.
Is this
High school?
coming into middle school?
So it would
They're already
include,
there.
it would include our current 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders.
Oh.
Wrote it for
Something else.
Dr. Miller and Carla Burns were instrumental in writing the proposal. Wrote it the first year, hoping 10 kids. I don't know if we'll reach 10 kids, but even if we have 2 kids interested, we will go all out for those 2 kids. They will also spend 3 days at New Mexico State, going through the engineering department, going out to NASA, going out to Spaceport USA. And then we'll do kind of a wrap up and a presentation day where they get to talk about what they've learned. That funding will secure us. The library is going to help us get 2 telescopes that also have cameras attached to them so they can take pictures with telescopes. It'll give us some digital cameras that they can do some photography stuff with. We already actually have the robotic kits because of PBL, so that takes that out of the funding. It sounds so cool. It was something that I got to participate through Region 9 when I was in middle school, and I opened my mouth in front of Dr. Miller and he didn't stop. So Mr. Handy is also willing to be our director and to college and everything else. So that's nice. Yeah. That's good. And then we've just been looking at reviewing handbooks and making updates in those areas where needed. All student handbooks, athletic, academic handbooks, related procedures and expectations, those kind of things.
So can I make a request if the rest of the board agrees? And Miranda are good with it. To me, when they get done with this program, that you just shared, and they have to put together a presentation, could they come do a presentation to the board?
Yeah, that was kind of on our radar. It probably won't be until the August board meeting because the timing of the dates that we have set forth, they will be in a mission during the board meeting.
Okay.
So it'll probably be the August board meeting, but yeah, without them committed.
The September one?
August.
It will be
August, yeah.
Okay. All right, cool, thank you.
And then we did, Miranda's been so busy with the construction plans, I offered to help write our ed plan and take that off of her plate. It only took 2 revisions and we got that passed through and approved. So we have our ed plan in place for 26-27. That also includes our MLSS, which is multi-layered systems of support plan, which leads us into our 90-day plan. We're not quite through the 90-day plan yet. We're working our way through that. So we will be up to date with all of our plans. And then our elementary went on their field trip yesterday. And Miss Patterson's kiddos went and did math at Quori and Grand Quivira last week. And did perimeter. Yeah. Cool. Any questions on what our kiddos and teachers and stuff we've been up to?
A lot.
I thought about taking you over and showing you the robots, but with NHS, I figured we may not have the time, but we will try to get you some presentations on them as well.
Yeah, that's good.
Put together. There's some over there that are very creative. I don't know if they'll ever work, but they're very creative.
Okay. Casey, you got any public comment? Is she asleep? She's muted, so, okay. Let's go on, action item discussion and approval of out-of-state travel expenses for judging team.
So Miss Chris wants to take livestock judging kids. Texas Tech is putting on a livestock judging camp on May 24th to 25th, which would let right up to state convention. So she wants to take them to Lubbock to the Texas Tech livestock judging camp. I'm pretty certain all 8 students have committed. So 2 full livestock judging teams. They give a lot of prizes, cash prizes, different things out to high point individuals and things, Sanquin teams.
What's your, do you have
And
that?
And so I did send that with the special education handbook for you guys, and I know that the projection on here, it shows 5 kids. So we would have to increase that. I mean, it's $1,400 with 5 kids.
Total,
So
that's
adding,
everything.
yes, ma'am, so adding 3 kids, mainly registration, $750. You guys can look at.
Okay, and that may have changed. It may be the 5 that they. Oh, I think she. Yeah, I'll have to double check.
So are they using their activity fund, the big balance in activity fund, or are we funding this through operation?
No, I think the idea was to use the FFA fund.
But since it was
Oh.
out of state travel, we just
Yeah.
want to.
Okay, so
That would stay with students.
with students, yeah.
That's what I assumed, but I shouldn't assume, I just figured they. Fine.
Yeah.
Approval for.
For us to go, yeah. I move to approve.
Second.
Motion made, seconded to approve the out-of-state travel for the judging team. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, discussion possible approval to appeal the previous policy G 5550 GCCA professional support staff sick leave and G 3150 GCCA professional staff bereavement leave.
So after talking with Dan Castile, when he was looking at the policy that we amended, he said that it does impact our bereavement leave, so he wanted clarification. And I know that we didn't repeal anything previously, we just amended. His recommendation was to repeal the previous G 2550 and G 3150 because the new G 2550, which is our employee leave, also has bereavement in it. I did create a comparison chart if you guys would like to see.
Yes. Yeah.
I just needed it, kind of broken down for me as well. Cause at first he was kind of asking, he didn't see a difference in anything. Like I said, there were blanks in there were days in there, first that were not included. And then when you got to digging a little deeper, and say, that it would impact that bereavement leave because now it's not its own separate, it's encompassed in the staff.
So you have 5 days of the definition of sick leave or bereavement. But as a same policy, for the girl sick, the bereavement. What's your like category as to what means for bereavement? Yeah, there's immediate family members, like how far does it go?
It's, as far as I know, it's just been up to the superintendent.
Are you comfortable with that? Making that call?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we had a guy who tried that 2 or 3 times. Same family, they don't get used to the same family member, died like 3 times.
Or have a weird little cap.
Most policies, they do state what
Yeah.
those, and that was my question. That way it doesn't put you in a rock and hard place and having to make that distinction as far as it's in black and white. Um. Yeah, that way it's not, and I know you have a good head on your shoulders, but that's just one last thing that you have to do it. And if it's in policy. There you go.
So my recommendation would be to repeal the G 3150 professional staff bereavement leave and keep the amendments to the G 2550. Because if we repeal that, then we would have to do the 3 reads again.
Did we do the 3 reads for the one?
No, because you're only amending.
Yeah, we weren't, we already had done it.
Well, we don't need to read on.
Yeah. You had already done.
We're reading through, I thought we had to read it through them. Okay. So you want us to. You will read
Bill
bills.
50.
So show me how this works. Comparison.
There's a lot on now.
Yeah, so it actually broke down, what I actually did was I had to compare multiple parts of our policy, so like 2950 is in there just to make sure that everything was still in alignment and not overlapping from here to here. So it's not just 3150 and it's not just 2550. So those aren't included on there, but I do have it look at 2950 for military. 2500, 26.
Are those drafts?
No, so this is actually, well, I
Those are the
mean,
ones that we need to.
this is just what I printed off our website.
Okay. So, and I'm sure you know how you want to do this, but just so I'm sure I understand, if you're asking for us to approve this, can you just show the sections that you're referring to?
Yeah, so on the 2550, this was the 20, specifically G 2550 was what we amended.
This is the amended one.
No, so this is the original.
This is the original.
And this is what we amended with. And so we amended because there were certain things like unused sick leave accumulation is not in here. And then like the bereavement, this one. They bounced. And so just looking at this, that's the only thing is that it would change that bereavement leave to be adding it to G2.
Which is
Rather
not what
than-
we want. We want it separate.
He said it's up to you guys. That it doesn't matter if you have it separate or not.
It's just all leave.
Yes.
But bereavement is in addition to accrued leave time. Bereavement is, unless it's done differently here, bereavement is a gift.
Yeah, because it, you know,
You're gonna.
It's not
it doesn't
accrued.
take away, yeah, it doesn't take away from your sick leave.
Yeah.
For the-
Personal time.
Right?
I mean, it doesn't at the state. I don't know.
It's just a free
Yeah.
unpaid day.
It's basically, and that's the thing too, like we can add professional support staff sick leave / bereavement leave. It's mainly just the, like the category number, the G2550, and then bereavement was just under
Okay,
something.
Something else.
Okay,
In the
right.
32.
so my opinion is it needs to be a separate category. It's an addition to their accrued leave time. And then I also recommend, I'll leave that up to you, the rest of the board agrees, sit down.
Oh,
and
you're
not
good.
like, talk about you. I do think it would help you and the rest of, and Amanda and anyone else that might be trying to call who gets to go and who doesn't. It doesn't, especially in a small community, it's in writing and everyone is aware of how it works. And so usually they dictate what a close relative is. That's just me, I don't know how the rest of.
But it doesn't say that, it doesn't say in. I don't think that was it.
Well, we need to leave it open to them.
Yes.
Mhm.
Do what?
No, I have separate policy.
Don't have a separate policy.
No.
Yeah, I don't have, yes. So then,
Because our leave right now in that policy, it includes vacation and sick, right? And two personal days still, so those are the things that are included in that. But
So remind me how sick leave works, so they can accrue and rolls over. And how
Yeah,
much?
but there's a max.
What's the maximum?
It's 60 days. We're only
Is that what they accrue a year?
full-time staff.
Is that the max
and
they can
they
have?
don't use it. Few of them, small, or so everybody else don't. Walk away. Or you.
60 days, not helpful.
Or
All
retire.
I know is that there's times when you fire or shoot somebody's butt when they retire and take the last 60 days. And you're without an employee, but you're still paying.
Yes. Yeah.
That's how the state guys do it. Though. They don't, I mean, they say, well, we're retired, the guy at Vaughn, he's been, the last 3 months, he's been coming in on Mondays. He had so much sick leave built up that he comes in on Mondays,
No.
takes 3 days off, because he has a whole bunch of, he has the 120 hours of vacation too, but they'll pay you for that. But they won't pay you for your sick leave, so he's been milking the system. And everybody does.
So sick leave spells out. And maybe there's certain requirements you have to meet school policies, so correct me if I'm wrong. Usually, sick leave is sick leave. You don't dictate. If people have earned any leave that is accrued the employee has to manage their own leave time. But that's up to the employee on how they want to use it. Based on any policy I've ever seen, and then bereavement is a gift. So we have sick leave, then we have sick leave accrual. What's the difference between those?
So this is,
If you don't use it, it accrues, you roll to the next year.
Oh, okay, but
Yeah.
they're accrued the same way. And then so if you don't use a certain amount of it, lose it.
Up to 60 days.
Okay. Okay, I don't know, do you have to, do school policies have to
so
dictate that?
that's the thing, is that's what's in our school policy, and that's something that, you know, Vicky was concerned about, is like the verbiage of sick leave, like if people need to take leave, like,
Sick leave is different, you can't even ask.
You can't dictate that.
but what we have in here, you know, specifically says you can only take sick leave as.
So usually,
Yeah.
usually on the sick leave, and I just talk from a little bit of experience, you get your sick leave, nobody can ask, you can take it a minute forward without any penalty. But if you go 3 days in a row,
You gotta have a doctor. You gotta have a doctor.
You cannot have 3 consecutive days without.
Yeah.
or a doctor.
Yes.
So this states employees may, and I didn't catch this, when we did all of this, employees may be granted up to 5 days of bereavement leave per year. So at what point is that put into everybody's bank at the beginning of the year?
From what I'm understanding, yes, like
If it's
it's just 5.
So you're given that.
I never put it in, tied it
I mean,
to
it's
any
not like,
employees. I never tied it to employees, but I
Correct.
have a way of tracking that.
yes, yes.
And
it's not
nobody
like
in
it-
all my years of ever used 5 days.
But we had somebody
One day
last year
here, one
use
day
like
there.
18 days.
Usually the way bereavement works. Usually the way bereavement works is just a gift. You don't accrue it.
But it says it may be granted, so you can request from the superintendent up to 5 days of bereavement, and then from there, then it's deducted from.
It's not usually don't work, but
Well,
that's,
um,
so in most companies, the way it works is you have your leave accrual, and some companies separate sick and vacation. But it's still the employees. Some will allow you to keep it, some you have to use it or lose it, or there's a percentage or what have you. Bereavement policies are normally in the event of the unfortunate loss or of a loved one, and usually you have a list of what that is, then, and usually HR keeps track of who's used it and who hasn't. That is awarded at the time of the event. In this case, it would be And some of them even go into close family is like a week. And then extended is 3 days. And that's given at the time that the event occurs. But I've never seen where it's accrued or it commingles with the leave time that has based on the schedule of what the employee is supposed to accrue in their benefit. So whatever that's worth. If you can, and the attorney is good with it. And Vicky may know too, and then obviously you have information on this. I think we need to change the verbiage on this, do what you need to do to make it jive correctly, and then go into the detail of what dictates bereavement with a close relative. By blood or marriage is usually how it states. Do you guys agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then I would say that we don't do anything with this. You
No
can-
action.
I mean, and
Rework
work
it.
through and that bereavement, and then I'll just make sure and keep those two separate.
Yeah.
But it's,
There's still gonna have to be something you can't approve of under certain circumstances will do. At some point, somewhere.
it's,
You know, small.
Why don't you, Brenda? I have a bunch of recruitment policies. I'll just shoot you and I'll take the names and stuff out and shoot those.
that would be great.
Yeah, it spells out and you'll have.
Just how far did you guys, how far did you go? Like, bro, I mean, you, immediate. But aunts and uncles, in the States, not.
No, Anthony.
I can't remember. It spells it out. I think I have like 10 different columns in my system. And I've done some other entities too. So. Cool. And they're all pretty much the same. Union contracts, leave time policies, they all pretty much are the same. So I'll shoot you some of this. Okay.
State, you could. You know, it took 7 days, but because the dad was back east.
Yeah.
They had to go and take care of all the arrangements and then be there, you know, so they were gone for a while, so it's.
Sorry, I never made it that worse, but you can put language in them where, in that event, where there's a special circumstance, the superintendent could, most of them do have like CEO or, but it takes the rest of it off. You just have the case by case unique situation. So.
All right. On the discussion and possible approval, appeal, there's going to be no action taken. All right, discussion and approval of special education policy and procedure handbook for the 26-27 school year in compliance with the state and federal requirements.
Yes, and so that's, I also sent that to you guys in the email. It's pretty lengthy. You know, Walsh Gray goes through, adds, changes, does whatever they have to do. And then that's just our handbook that we follow to be in compliance with the state requirements. And that's what we post on our website.
That's one
Pretty mandatory to be on the website.
I move to approve the special education policies and procedures handbook for the 26-27 school year.
Motion made, seconded to approve special education policy procedure handbook for next school year. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, I need a motion to go into executive session.
A second.
All those in favor, Kyle?
Aye.
Lauren? Lena?
Aye.
Barbara?
Aye.
Aye.
7:13.
Okay, are we on? All right, I need motion to come out of executive session.
So moved.
Second. We made seconded to come out of executive session with no action taken. All those in favor, Kyle?
Aye.
Lauren? Aye. Lena? Barbara?
Aye.
Me? Aye. All right. Discussion item, teacher housing project update. I think we got much of that.
Yeah, mainly that. To. Report,
yeah.
that's pretty much it. Well, our next meeting that we have next week with Francis Wood, who's our regional manager for this project. Our project manager will also meet with Mr. Z Greer with White Sands Construction so that we can get it to.
So did you get your CPO? I meant to ask you.
I'm assuming, and I got hers in the mail, so I don't know. He's on your center there.
Okay.
And Kyle hadn't went to the mail and gave it to you.
They did give verbal permission for me to move forward.
I figured because you're going tomorrow, but.
Okay, anything else? Linda? That's good luck for the next couple of days. Or tomorrow and then Monday, yes, and the next week.
Yeah, and they're great promotion tomorrow, anything put on Monday and president final.
No graduation, huh?
No,
I decided.
the family said that they would rather just wait till they get to Texas because their families probably wouldn't travel in for it. And well, you have a community here that shows up, even if it's one or two kids, then they opted not to.
I knew that you were leaving it up to them.
Yeah.
I guess we haven't heard, so.
Yeah.
Anything else, anybody? All right. Dude,
I moved that we had heard. Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I have to sign somewhere.
Yes.
Sorry. We missed you. We adjourned already.
Well,
You're
heck.
much better.
Much better.
I need to face the camera.
You didn't have public comment tonight.
4 days.
Yeah, or get onto your kids or anything. Or talk to your kids like.